Welcome to Exclusive with Taghreed Hussein here on Nile TV International at India House while we are celebrating India's Independence Day. And we have all the honor and pleasure to have with us His Excellency Ambassador Ajit Gupte, Ambassador of India to Egypt. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining Nile TV International. And we'll start off with a message on the occasion of the special occasion of celebrating India's Independence Day.
Well, India's Independence Day is a very special occasion because India was one of the first countries to gain independence in 1947. India was the largest colony under the British rule, and India's independence led to a very quick decolonization process, including in many countries in Asia and Africa. One of the very interesting aspects about India's freedom movement that it was based on Gandhiji's message of non-violence and peaceful non-cooperation, and this inspired freedom movements in many parts of the developing world to adopt similar tactics, and that is what makes the Indian Independence Day of relevance globally. Today, India is an example where people of different religions, multiple ethnic groups, many languages, many castes can live together in peace and harmony. And almost 75 years after India's independence, we are a successful democracy where with very diverse background people are living together. We are one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and we have a stable political system.
We were talking, Your Excellency, about our distinctive bilateral relations binding both nations. What would you tell us today about going the extra mile to take our bilateral relations into new levels?
Well, India and Egypt are two of the ancient civilizations in the world, and we've had historical contacts through the centuries through shipping and trade contacts. But we had a very special relationship between President Nasser and our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and this was a golden period. It led to a friendship treaty in 1955, and the leaders also established the non-aligned movement. In recent years, in the 1980s onwards, there have been 4 prime ministerial visits from India to Egypt, and similarly there have been about 4 presidential visits from Egypt to India. Since President Sisi came to power, and around the same time our Prime Minister Narendra Modi was elected, we are entering a special phase in our relationship. President Sisi visited India twice, in October 2015 for the India-Africa Forum, and in September 2016 for a state visit. We've had a number of ministerial exchanges. Our External Affairs Minister came here in 2015, our Defense Minister was here. Our Prime Minister was to come last year, but it got postponed due to the pandemic. But we hope to revive the high-level interaction once the pandemic situation comes under control.
Definitely, two older civilizations in the whole world, Egypt and India, and we're moving together into further cooperation on more than one file. For instance, in the field of economy, Your Excellency, we are also seeing eye to eye on moving forward, achieving more growth levels in that respect.
You see, one of the very interesting aspects of the bilateral relations is that is the quantum of trade and investment flows. Egypt is India's 6th largest trading partner, and trade last year was about $4.2 billion. It was more or less evenly balanced. Indian companies have invested significantly in Egypt. About 50 Indian companies have invested about 3.3 billion US dollars, which is quite large by Indian standards. We are also confident that these investments will continue to grow in the near future. I am aware that several companies are actually in the process of making large investments. We are also trying to see if more Indian investment can be encouraged in areas like the Suez Canal economic zone, because Egypt enjoys a strategic location. It has a number of FTAs. It provides access to the markets in Europe and the Gulf and also the US.
احنا هنفضل نشتغل ونبني ونعمر في بلدنا لآخر لحظة. خلونا نحط ايدينا في ايدين بعض. احنا لا نبغي إلا البناء والتنمية والسلام.
Yes, definitely. Egypt, the mother of the world, attracts attention, and Egypt plays a pivotal role on more than one level. And as Your Excellency have mentioned, also the incentives and the growth is happening because of the incentives provided to achieve a healthy investment climate. Tell us more, Excellency, about businessmen, Indian businessmen encouraged to come to Egypt and to make business. You talked about the Suez Canal Access Project and the economic zone, a great contribution. What other projects?
Well, as I said, about 50 Indian companies have been present. They are mainly manufacturing various products, including some niche products. They are also contributing to Egypt's economy because many of the products they manufacture are for exports, so it helps Egypt earn revenue. The Indian companies employ about 35,000 Egyptians. We also have several Indian companies which are active in areas like renewable energy. In fact, some Indian companies have put up about 250 megawatts of solar projects, and of course Egypt, there is no lack of sun, there is sunshine every day. And they are also going in the process of starting another 200 megawatt project. We have several companies doing data energy storage, which is the new thing, and this will help Egypt's IT sector also considerably. In the pharmaceutical sector, where both India and Egypt are have close cooperation, India is one of the main providers of API, that is active pharmaceutical ingredients. So there's a lot of potential to continue to increase our cooperation and collaboration.
Yes, definitely, Ambassador, and also among the most distinctive part of cooperation is the cultural field, boosting cultural relations between the two oldest civilizations in the world. We've seen definitely the Indian folkloric troops, the dances at the Cairo Opera House, sharing, India being also more than once the guest of honor at our book fair. So you have here the soft power and cultural relations binding both nations in a very distinctive manner.
Well, in the short time that I have been here, I have been most impressed by the level of cultural cooperation and the great interest that the Egyptian officials and the common people have in Indian culture. I am told that many Egyptians love to watch Bollywood movies, and even when I look at the Arabic channels, I see a lot of Bollywood films being dubbed and played. Actors like Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan are household names.
Yes, definitely, and
Yes,
rocking
yes.
here in Egypt.
Yes, and we, for the last few years, the embassy has been organizing this major cultural festival, India by the Nile, and that has also helped to expand India's cultural footprint. So India enjoys a lot of soft power, as they call it. Indian food is extremely popular, Indian Bollywood, music, dance, and of course in the last few years yoga has become extremely popular. and we have been celebrating the International Day of Yoga with great enthusiasm, and I'm glad to know that many Egyptians are also following yoga.
Yes, very interesting, and Nile TV had the honor to cover the yoga event, and it had a great feedback. Ambassador, talking about India as a beautiful destination, marvelous destination to visit. How can we market India today in Egypt so that we are going to achieve this sense of exploration, explore India, explore Egypt, explore India? How can we have more tourists from Egypt coming to India and vice versa?
Well, let me answer the latter part of your question first. Indians have been traveling a lot of, pre-pandemic, and they are looking for newer destinations. And Egypt, I think, is certainly one of those new exotic locations. In 2019, almost 130,000 Indians visited Egypt, and I'm sure if it wasn't for the pandemic, the numbers would have continued to grow. But we should work on ways of, trying to encourage more Indian tourists, because Egypt has a lot to offer in terms of historic sites, and also you have some beautiful resorts. We'll have to see how, the vaccine certificates and all, and the pandemic are constraints. But let us see if something can be worked out. As far as India is concerned, India, well, it is a subcontinent. So we have great diversity in terms of geographic topography. So we have the majestic Himalayas to the north, mountains going up from 3,000–4,000 feet to a height of 29,000 feet, snow-clad. They are paradise for trekkers, mountaineers. And then we have Ladakh, which is a lunar landscape adjoining the Tibetan plateau. And then when you come down, you have the green alluvial plains of Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, which are extremely fertile and where a good part of India's population resides. And then on the west, you have the desert, like Egypt, where you can see camels, you can see forts, fortresses, palaces. And then we have a huge coastline on the west and the east of 7,200 kilometers. And in the east and the northeast, we have lots of forests and jungles. So when I see Egypt, which is basically, I think there is a lot that India offers. Then the Indian cuisine is very popular here. I see the eyes of Egyptians light up when I talk about Indian food. So that is something that they should try out. And of course, India has so many historical monuments, forts, palaces, and also religious shrines. So we have literally thousands of temples, thousands of mosques, churches, gurudwaras.
Yeah, a diversity of cultures, of course, and a melting pot. So it's an invitation for all our dear viewers throughout the world to visit the beautiful, fascinating India. Ambassador, if we talk about the people-to-people relations, it's very important also to foster people-to-people relations and working on public diplomacy. So are there special programs that would help both sides? Students, for instance, visiting Indian universities, having scholarships and vice versa. Tell us more about the people-to-people relations.
Yes, well, India has been offering scholarships under various programs such as the ITEC to students from all over the world, and so far more than 1400 Egyptian students and also professors have taken part in our in various programs. The pandemic has of course acted as a bit of a constraint. From India, we have a large number of students studying in Al-Azhar University. They mainly studying Arabic and language and philosophy. About 250 of them. But recently, we have a number of Indian students wanting to study medicine in Egypt. So it is a two-way process, and one of my endeavors will be to try and encourage closer cooperation between the educational institutions.
Talking about the challenge of COVID-19, and it was really a challenging 2 years for all countries all over the world. So how about collaboration and cooperation between Egypt and India in order to fight the pandemic?
Well, India has been consistently supporting the international community in fighting the pandemic since it broke out. So last year, when the pandemic broke out, we sent medicines, masks, medical supplies to many countries in the world, including Egypt. This year, once the vaccines came up, and you might be knowing that India is one of the largest producers of vaccines in the world, we sent a large consignment of vaccines to Egypt. And we hope that in the next few months there can be more cooperation, because India is the leading manufacturer of vaccines in the world. As of today, we have vaccinated more than 490 million people in India, and we've overtaken the EU and by a large margin the US. We hope to vaccinate the bulk of India's population by the end of this year.
Talking about the future of relations and future prospects of cooperation, Ambassador, what would you tell us today?
Well, I'm very optimistic about the future development of relations. What I'm trying to do is to revive some of the mechanisms which had met before. There are several joint consultative bodies. We have a number of agreements which are ready for signing. As I said, subject to the pandemic, we'll try and have more contacts at the ministerial level. But we are also trying to bring some more business delegations, and I'm glad to say that just as we speak, there is an Indian delegation, trade delegation here in the food processing sector. So I'm very confident that our bilateral relations will reach a new level in the next few years.
We are really sure that together, working together, will take our bilateral relations into new heights. Your Excellency, Ambassador Ajit Gupte, Ambassador of India to Egypt, Thank you so much for joining Nile TV International and giving us this exclusive celebrating India's Independence Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And dear viewers, thank you so much for joining us. We were in the honorable company of His Excellency Ambassador Ajit Gupte, Ambassador of India to Egypt, celebrating with India today Independence Day. Many thanks for watching.